Is NIL out of control? Why is PJ Fleck getting extended? Penn State to 11 wins again this year? That is all on today's Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Game Time. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad. I'm Spencer McLaughlin, your host. Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers is here with Zach Anderson-Yoxheimer of Locked On UCLA, Jay Stevens of Locked On Buckeyes, Ryan Herrings of Locked On Badgers, Zach Seiko of Locked On Nittany Lions decided to show up as we're doing his team's win total today on the show. Mark Kulkin of Locked On USC has a new haircut, and Roman Tomashoff of Locked On Huskies is here as well. So all the reports, gentlemen, are flying around about NIL and this August 1st deadline where quote-unquote fake NIL deals with money that doesn't exist or players being overpaid, it could all go up in flames. And I'm hesitant to say that that's going to happen. But hey, Seiko, it's possible, man. It appears legitimately possible. So do you think NIL is about to just remain status quo or get completely changed?
I bet Locked On SEC is that meme of SpongeBob in his brain where he's running around and everything's catching on fire and stuff. No.
Disrespect.
Yeah, our producers in that Locked On SEC crowd. So, the clearinghouse, I'm not surprised it's being delayed because there's this backup and truckload of deals that are probably all illegitimate, and that's why they got to go through them with a comb and say, okay, this is okay, and this is not okay, and this is okay. So it's what we've been waiting for. It's a lot of people are probably sweating right now, or a lot of programs are sweating right now. Are these going to stay intact? So, look, I'm all for it, and I can't wait for the news because then we'll have something tangible to react to than guessing, okay, who's going to get caught or who's going to get penalized, that kind of thing.
Seiko, we all know the only fake NIL deals are at USC. Come on now. Jay, your read on this situation. Does this bother you at all? Or are you just are you still riding high off the national championship? Like, sure, do whatever you want.
It doesn't really bother me. I kind of view it like I do the playoff format for 2026, that December 1st deadline. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't know if it's August 1st, September 1st. I don't know, but I do know at some point things are going to come up and there will be chaos in the sport because things have been going on that shouldn't have been going on for quite a long time. I'm glad things are starting to get cleaned up, or they will get cleaned up down the road, but I'll believe that August 1st date when I see it.
Roman?
Yeah, no, I'm with Jay on that one. There are certainly a lot of programs outside of just the SEC that are going to be put under a microscope. I'm not going to name any names in the Big Ten chat so we don't all just start, yelling at each other like Oregon or anything.
No,
like that.
You wouldn't want to. Wow, you found a way to work it in. That's incredible. I'm so surprised. I'm surprised you found a way to get a jab in there about caring about winning. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Instead of trying to monopolize all of it, I do want to spend a second here on Texas Tech too, because I think that's one program that I'm really interested to see what happens with. And I think as we start to see if any of this does turn into reality, that's one program after signing Felix Ojo to a $5.1 million deal over the next couple of years. That's something I'm very curious to see just where that falls in with all this as well.
Yeah, big offensive tackle commit that they got over Texas amongst other schools. But Zach, you guys down there at UCLA are now in the weird, messy NIL space of such with Nico. Are you worried that the dollars are about to fall through and that Nico will be transferring again?
I mean, that could still happen without the dollars falling through. So I'm not sure if that's the reason why. I think the fact that they're in the conversation is something to look into, but I think they're doing just fine. And if they're worried about money, there's many places they could go. They're coming to UCLA for things other than just the NIL.
Ryan, your take.
I don't care. I was so excited to talk college football with 7 other people, and I log in and we're talking about the clearinghouse. We're like a bunch of nerds. I don't care. I don't care at all.
Okay, Ryan, I don't know if you can use the word nerd disparagingly. You and I were texting about Lego Masters earlier today.
No, it's actually a really good season. That's a strong build. Let me say this. Like, who are the best teams right now? I don't know. It's like Penn State, Ohio State, Bama, Georgia. Who are the best teams 20 years ago?
Did you say Indiana?
I did not.
Somebody did.
But, like, my point is, nothing's
Who could
changed.
that have been?
Upstart here and there. Like, it's the same stuff. The same best teams are the same best teams. I don't care. I'm so sick of talking about NIL. Like, football is a couple months away from practices. I just don't care anymore. Like, and let's also point out the teams that this is going to impact. It's not the Wisconsins. It's like, it doesn't. I don't care. I just don't care. I'm ready to talk football. I don't care.
Okay, Goins, do you think all this NIL talk does anything to materially change the landscape of the sport?
No, not on a grand scheme of things. And, you know, so many of these teams are saying August 1st is when the real deals can go out, and August 1st is when pen goes to paper. Who cares? Like Jay said, and so many others, it's like August 1st isn't the saving grace for all these teams like Indiana or anybody else. Like, since when has a rule been in place that's actually been held up and disciplined and teams have been punished to the full force of a rule or the law? Since when has that ever happened? So none of that's going to happen. It'll all come out eventually. And what I say?
It was Mark's face.
I'm sitting right here still getting over the sanctions.
I'm saying, but to the fullest extent, no.
I'm sitting right here, Jacob.
I know you or LSU or any Michigan or any of these other teams have never been punished to the full extent of any rule. And then all these other rules that float around out there, they don't get held up to the fullest extent is what I'm trying to say. It could be worse, Mark. It could be worse.
I do see Jacob's defense. I understand the point that he's making, but the optics of when has anyone ever been punished for paying players? And Mark's like, my guy lost his Heisman Trophy for 2 decades.
Good.
Mark, you can chime in here.
I don't know what the fullest extent of the law is. The only thing they didn't do was go SMU on USC. I mean, they did pretty much what they wanted to do, Jacob.
Too bad, too.
Well, we got it back. And as far as NIL is concerned in USC, I'm with Ryan. I don't care. The reason I don't care is because of location. Hopefully Zach can get Casey Wasserman to step up to the plate and take advantage of their location, because that's what it's all about. That whole thing of fair market value. USC has it. They can say, you know what? Yeah, we can pay this player this amount of money because look at our TV market, look at our national market, look at our global market. It's that type of thing. So yeah, I'm with Ryan. I don't care. Let's play football.
Quite frankly, Texas Tech was brought up earlier. I'm not that opposed to a world where a school that suddenly wants to get somebody that really wants their program to succeed and pour money into it, and that can lead to success both off and on the field. I don't think that's necessarily the worst. But the funny part about all this, of course, is I don't think it has a great chance. In fact, I think it has a pretty bad chance to get held up by the courts, who have pretty consistently said, yeah, you can't tell these kids what they are and are not allowed to earn. They're 18 years old. You got to let them make, if it's a consensual arrangement between the two, then that's all that really matters there. So we're talking coaching hot seat when we come back, because some people, Brandon, and others are confused about what just happened with Minnesota. We've still got Penn State's win total, a lot coming on today's Locked On Big Ten Squad. First, this episode brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. We've got college football in about a month and a half, less than a month and a half. You will see a real, new, impactful, unpredictable college football game, and if you want to bet upon it, FanDuel is the place to do it. You're already following all the action, of course. Why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? You can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach or out doing whatever the heck they do. That's probably a Los Angeles comment directed at Mark and Zach. But anything you want for college football, win totals, individual games, national title odds, conference championship odds, it's all over there at FanDuel. So make sure you go check them out for college football and beyond. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. So go check them out. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Check them out, the FanDuel app or FanDuel.com. in a Big Ten coaching move we all expected and saw coming, PJ Fleck up at Minnesota got extended through the year 2030. Now, he hasn't had a double-digit win season since 2019. They were solid last year. They went 5-4 in Big Ten play, 8-5 overall. There's nothing wrong with that. It's respectable, but Seiko, it's not the irony's not lost to me that I'm starting with you with this. Do you feel like this is rewarding a coach that maybe still has another gear left to prove? Wink, wink.
The first thing I wanted to talk about was loyalty, because I've heard rumors that he was exploring other options, that he was interested in the North Carolina job. Again, I don't know how substantial those are, but what are you rewarding at that point? Because what does PJ Fleck, do we know how committed he is there if he's shopping around for other potential head coaching jobs? And then again, all right, so you want to say wink, wink to me. What about the true definition of mediocrity here? At least Penn State's making a college football playoff and consistent double-digit win seasons and New Year's Six bowl games. What does PJ Fleck have? What does he have anything that he can say? Like, well, we got over 500. Well, they're doing okay, but at some point, when is 7-5 when is that bad? When is 7-5 after year bad?
I believe PJ Fleck is undefeated in bowl games for what it's worth.
I was about to bring that up. My guy is 6-0. He's won the Quick Lane Bowl, the Outback Bowl, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, the Pinstripe Bowl, the Quick Lane Bowl, and the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
God.
Wait, did they dump mayo on him?
Oh, I
think he did. Yeah.
He soaked it up. Like, he's the dorkiest coach.
That's the closest to a Gatorade bat.
That's the most Minnesota thing I've ever heard, is somebody enjoying the mayonnaise getting dumped on them.
He enjoys any time a camera is on him. Like,
Yoxheimer, wasn't UCLA in the mix trying to go after him? Am I crazy in saying that?
No, he was in the mix there. So,
Okay,
speaking
that's
of
what I
loyalty, yeah, it's ridiculous that it's getting an extension to 2030.
Yeah, Jay, if Ohio State, let's just say, I'm trying to apply Minnesota's expectations to Ohio State's. Let's say Ohio State went.
You can't do it. You can't compare the two.
I'm trying to take the equivalent, with what they can achieve, what their floor is, and whatnot. If Ohio State went 5 straight years making the playoff but didn't win a single playoff game in that stretch, would you ever consider extending Ryan Day?
No, not at all. I get the Minnesota thing, though. For Minnesota's sake, they're comfortable with where he is right now with the program. And with where Minnesota's football team is, they know they're not going to make the playoff. They know they're not going to be in the running to be in the Big Ten championship game. They understand that. They're comfortable. 8 wins, 9 wins, maybe a double-digit win here or there. They're cool with that. They're comfortable with PJ Fleck. But through 2030 is a little odd. I'm cool giving him an extension, but that long, I can't get down with that.
Yeah. Roman, let's, again, kind of same hypothetical here. If Jed Fish went 8-4 this year, forget what happens in the bowl game, 7-5, 7-5. At the end of that stretch, would you want to extend him and be like, yeah, let's add on another year or two to his contract?
No, absolutely not. And it's kind of, it made me think back to, it's going to sound weird because of what he's been able to do recently, but the Steve Sarkisian years at Washington, where it was consistently just slightly above mediocre, where it was like, oh yeah, you're going 7-5. Like, to Seiko's point, I honestly had no idea that he's almost 20 games over 500 at this point as a coach of Minnesota. He's 58-39, which it adds up after a while and it looks fine. But at the end of the day, it's underwhelming. Like, we sit here week in, week out, whenever Minnesota comes up, we just kind of laugh it off because we know it's not serious at any point in time. No, that's never a guy I'd want to extend.
Yeah. Speaking of mediocrity in football, Zach, I wanted to bring you into the folder. I couldn't resist. I thought Seiko was going to make a jab at somebody earlier, but he's a nicer person than I am, just generally speaking. What would you want to see from Deshaun Foster in the next 3 years to warrant a contract extension?
I would think continue to build up UCLA recruiting, obviously build in the attendance, and then UCLA would have to go 8 wins to 9 wins by the end of that third year. And if it's not happening, then there clearly needs to be a change. But obviously it's building from the bottom up at this point.
Ryan, are you expecting to not have to worry about an extension with a coach for a long time because you'll first be worrying about the new contract of the next guy, or how do you read the situation?
Yeah, like first of all, I hate that state. Like, I'm from Wisconsin. Like, they're all right. Let me just switch gears on you.
You telling me if Luke Fickell gets canned, you don't want to hire PJ Fleck?
First of all, we're talking about a coach that's 33-36 in conference, and he's been rewarded for it. Like, it's I love it. As a Wisconsin fan, there's no threat there. I love it. They're not going to hit a ceiling under him because he's proven it. Let me tell you just really quick, because I hate that state. And I was so jazzed up that we got to talk about PJ Fleck. When my oldest son was younger, I bought him a map of America, like puzzle pieces, right? Educational, he would build it. And I took before I could do it, I took the Minnesota piece out. So he put the puzzle together, and he's like 3 or 4. He's like, Dad, we're missing a piece. I'm like, no, son, that's where the Hellfires hit. So I actually told him, like, we grew up for years thinking that the middle of the country was like this burning abyss. Like, that's where the crack fires are. And for years he did this. And then eventually, but kids will believe anything you tell them. And eventually my wife is like, hey, he's going to go to school now. We got to like tell him because he's going to have like a water boy moment where he goes in and the professor's like, no, there's a state there. And he's like, no, my dad told me that place is gone. Anyway, like, my point is, I hate that state. I hate that program. He's a corny coach, and they're rewarding mediocrity, and I love it. So let's go.
That's incredible. That is the future youth of America, baby. That is awesome.
I can't believe the educational standards in this country are dropping. It's hard to fathom how we got to that point.
What age was he before you told him?
Gosh, it's probably 6 or 7. Like, I mean, it was
so you let it go on for 3 years?
For a couple of years, I was telling him I invented the microwave. I'm like, I told him too. And he's like, wow, Dad, you're so amazing. So I didn't let that one go quite as long, but the Minnesota thing, like when we were young, we used to sneak into our local campground, and all the campers that had Minnesota license plates, we'd steal their coolers and like dump them away. Like, I hate that state. So I'm all about it, man. Reward that dude for as long as possible because they're not hitting anything more than a 7-5 season with them.
Did y'all ever like drive through the state of Minnesota and just have to
we used to
cover his eyes when
I was young?
sign
We used
came
to
by?
like litter in Minnesota. Now that's bad. You shouldn't do that. Like, I'm not. I was like young, but I'm just telling you, like, that's a real thing. Minnesota, Wisconsin, we play for the Axe. It's a rivalry. We don't like each other. Like, it's a real thing. So again, I'm okay with them extending the dork because they're not going to win with them.
Wow.
Goins, do you want to try and follow that up?
I mean, not really. We can talk about coaching extensions. Signetti's been here for a year. We extended him 8 years. He's here through 2032, making $8 million a year with $1 million retention bonus every year. We're all about extending coaches over here, man. All good things in Bloomington. I ain't got nothing to say about litter in any other state, though.
Mark, what would it take for you to want to extend Lincoln Riley?
What would it take to extend him?
Yeah.
He's got to get to the playoffs, period. Bottom line. There's no other answer to that question. I thought you were going to ask me about PJ Fleck, but.
Oh, well, I just figured you were disinterested, knowing you as I do. But like, hey, if you want to engage the conversation with the rest of us, by all means.
PJ Fleck did beat his team.
I'm still laughing at Ryan's story. Do they still do show and tell? And if your son brought you to school, what do you do for a living?
Do you show up with a master's green jacket on?
Right. So, I don't know, man. Like, my kid is going to be better or worse off depending. I don't know.
So the reason why, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Now, the reason why PJ Fleck got extended, they beat USC, which proves that USC is still relevant nationally. But I guess my question would be this: when does PJ's contract run out? Because extending to 2030 isn't really that big of a deal. I mean, it's 5 years away, and usually that's all about recruiting, just showing the guys out there. Yeah, he'll be around when you graduate. The buyout is probably not that big, I would imagine.
I would imagine the buyout is probably the biggest reason they did it, is so that if he does get poached by another school, because he does have some good seasons. I could see how another school would want to hire him. He's got an 11-win season. They ended 2019 ranked number 10 in the country. They had back-to-back 9-win seasons and 8 wins this past year. It's not like he can't win. I just saw extension. I was like, I don't know, but he's good.
Well,
he's good. He's good.
To be fair,
Who
they
else is
didn't
Minnesota going
actually.
to hire? I mean,
Well, that's the
are
thing.
you going to do better than PJ Fleck?
Jed Fish.
They should hire Ryan at this point.
Tear that program down.
Yeah, Ryan's got an illustrious coaching record at Bishop Sycamore High School.
Yes.
But yes, baby.
Yeah. Okay. Now for the fun part of the show. We always save the best for last. Penn State's win total is 10.5. Over, under, where do we go? That is coming up next. All right, Seiko, you're gonna have to let us talk about your team for a while, and then you'll have your moment. You'll have your moment. So, I'll start. Penn State over. 11 wins minimum. I don't know if they're gonna beat Ohio State. I'm so tempted to pick it. I'm so tempted to be that idiot sucker that takes them in a big game on the road at Ohio State. I'm really tempted. I'm gonna wait. I think it's 11 wins minimum for the Nittany Lions. This is one of my favorite over bets on the board, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country at 10.5 per our friends at FanDuel. Jay, what say you?
Spencer, I agree with you. And I was originally thinking I was going to go under because the number is so high. This schedule's pretty easy. There's really only 2 games where it's a toss-up between will Penn State win, will the other team win. Like, it's really just that easy. You can walk into the season and get 10 wins. Like, it's that easy for Penn State. The only tough games is home against Oregon, on the road at Ohio State. You're probably going to split that. Go 1-1 in those 2 games. There's your 11 wins. Seiko, I can't talk bad about the team right now. They got a lot of talent coming back. James Franklin's a walking 10, maybe 11-win coach. So I got 11 wins for the Nittany Lions right now.
Roman?
Do not clip this. I agree with Spencer. All right, I just got to. I got
Woo!
to get that.
Brandon, clip it now. Clip it.
I do have the over. I agree with everything Jay said. This is such an easy schedule. I can't take them to win on the road at Ohio State, but I do think that they do end up having 11 wins in the schedule. They do beat Oregon at home. I'll set that one in stone right now. But on top of that, everything Jay said holds true. There's so much experience coming back. I don't want to pick James Franklin to win big games in the playoff as of this moment, but I do like everything that they have on this roster right now. And I think that with where this conference is sitting, getting 11 wins is not going to be very hard for this team.
For those listening or watching who have not memorized their schedule, it goes like this. Nevada, FIU, Villanova, just a murderer's row of a non-conference by Indiana standards.
Indiana, yeah, come on now. Let's at least give. Are we not?
Okay, at least Nevada is a group of 5 team. I guess Old Dominion is too, but yeah. Right? Old Dominion's a G5.
So why are we talking crap about Indiana, but not?
Well, because Indiana's is worse, and also you're you, Jacob. So that's why. Anyway, they open Big Ten play against Oregon at home off a bye, which seems highly unfair, by the way. Then they go at UCLA, cakewalk. Northwestern at Iowa. That could get interesting, but probably not. At Ohio State, host Indiana, at Michigan State, host Nebraska, and then go at Rutgers. Zach, do you think UCLA's got any shot to pull an upset here in a line that I imagine is a pretty sizable point spread?
I mean, it's a long trip to UCLA. It's their first road game of the year. They play few weeks from late August till October before they go on the road? That's a pretty crazy schedule for Penn State to get all those home games in a row. Obviously, they'll be big underdogs at home, but the Bruins want to make a statement. That's the game early in the schedule to do it. Penn State, I could see them messing around and get 2 losses in the regular season before going on a run, Ohio State-esque like this last season, but they're going to go over.
Ryan, you got a high level of confidence. Is anyone going to take an under at this point? Oh, there it is. Oh, Ryan's got faith in the Ducks.
Listen, not dramatically. Penn State's really good. Their experience, I love the coordinators, the running back should be really good, but we don't know how good the receivers are going to be coming off of last year. Losing Warren's a big deal. I know there's talent behind him, but that's a massive loss for this team. I don't think they're going to win in Columbus. I really don't. And then you still have Oregon. That Iowa game is going to be a night game in Kinnick. Almost guaranteed that's going to be a night game. And the teams that Iowa typically struggles with, it's teams with more dynamic quarterbacks, more quarterbacks that can get out of the pocket and threaten. That's not what Penn State's going to do. Listen, Penn State's really good, obviously. 11 wins is a cakewalk when you have to go to Iowa, when you have Oregon, when you have Ohio State. I'm going to take the under. I think it's 10. 11's tough. Teams typically lose a game they shouldn't lose. This is college football. This is not, the simming it out in a video game. College football, weird things happen. So I'm taking the under. 10 wins, still a really good year, still a really good team. Give me the under.
Goins, where would you place your money if you had to on 10.5?
Look, the schedule is easy, like everybody has said. The road game at Ohio State is tough, but I think Penn State's the better team. And look, the Shoe's a tough place to play. I assume that'll be a big noon kick if that's announced or hasn't already been announced. I mean, that'll be one of those early games that Ohio State fans have been upset about for years, and understandably so. But then there's the game in Happy Valley that's going to display two undefeated teams late in the Big Ten season when the Hoosiers come to town, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Penn State loses their first game of the year. I'm kidding. I think.
Okay, good.
I think
good. I was worried.
Oh, I was kidding about Penn State and Ohio State. I think Penn State will lose the Ohio State game after being 7-0. They'll also lose the Indiana game. They'll win out. They'll have 10 wins. They'll go under 10.5. But they'll still compete for a national title.
I'm ashamed that was allowed to go out on our airwaves as a network, but I don't have control over everything. I can. Okay, all right, Mark.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
Gosh.
I actually don't know what he said. I didn't.
I don't either.
I asked Brandon to cut it.
Okay.
This.
Speaking of cut it, Mark with the new haircut. Go for it.
So I'm going under. I'm with Ryan. It's college football. That game at UCLA, I'm not saying Penn State's going to lose that game, but it is their first road game, and it's coming off a very highly emotionally charged game at home against Oregon. So you got to take that into consideration. And then you're just looking at where else can Penn State lose. No one's mentioning Michigan State late in the year in East Lansing. You guys like to talk about the weather all the time in the Midwest. East Lansing, November 15th, it's crappy weather.
Doesn't it snow in Happy Valley?
Pennsylvania never gets any snow. It's always it's the East Coast, Los Angeles.
Mark's down in LA being like, nowhere gets snow. Some places get snow.
Are you playing it in Happy Valley or are you playing it in East Lansing? That's the difference between the weather comparison you're making.
I don't think the Michigan State point is horrible. I think Michigan State is a sneaky, solid team this year. Jonathan Smith works in quiet and mysterious ways. But
nothing to sneeze at 10 wins, Zach. Don't get upset.
I'm not.
I'm just saying.
I think the weather comparison's funny.
Indiana
on the road,
the Ohio State game
might be depleted with injuries. You don't know what your roster is going to look like as well. Just look at some of the nuance.
We don't know what Michigan State's roster is going to look like. They could be absolutely ravaged.
But we're talking about your team where they could possibly lose.
all right, Seiko, the time has come. The stage is yours. I hope you're about to say that Penn State is going 12-0.
Oh, wow. I get the solo shot, too. This is like at the end of Rest in Peace Around the Horn. But, yeah. So Penn State absolutely can go 12-0. This is the year to beat Ohio State. If they don't do it this year, then I don't know that I see it for the next 3, 4, 5 years beyond. And I mean, that's beyond recruiting classes that we're focusing on. So this is the year to beat Ohio State. This is the closest, if not past Ohio State at this point in time. They beat Oregon. They get Oregon in a spot early in the season with that whiteout game. So that's not an ideal setup for the Ducks. Spencer, I'm surprised we didn't address that since you are the neutral arbiter, of course. You just kind of brushed over so they
that
beat
line,
Oregon.
by the way, is Penn State minus 4.5. You said it would be 7.5, and I told you it would be around 4 or 5.
It could move. It could move.
I just wanted.
It's early. It's early. Thank you, Brandon. So this schedule is favorable for Penn State. Traveling to UCLA is not ideal that's all the way across the West Coast. That's where you'd want to play in Michigan State, because I do think Michigan State gets better as the season goes along, but I don't think it has anything to do with weather. So the game that I have circled the most is Ohio State, accordingly so, because Julian Sayin will be adjusted at that point in time. Same thing with Brian Hartline's offense. maybe a Matt Patricia. I can't believe I'm saying that. Matt Patricia defense, that's going to take a full 12 games to get adjusted to. So that's where I think Ohio State breaking all of that in together, it's just the natural attrition of the sport. You're going to have turnover at points in time. Penn State's trending up. Ohio State took enough of a step backwards for Penn State to get that victory. So I will take 12-0 at this point in time. With all considered, what is on paper.
Woo! 12-0 for the Nittany Lions. Is anybody prepared for that? I am. Seiko is. And absolutely nobody else is. But we are ready to wrap the squad for the week. Zach Seiko, Locked On Nittany Lions. Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes. Roman Tomashoff, Locked On Huskies. And everybody else. Brandon, what are you doing? I'm Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On Wherever. We'll see you next time. Until then, hope you have a